welcome to the garage. I am Dan Nichols. This is actually a joyous occasion because we are in fact in my garage. So those of you who have been following the Lazarus build for a while now would know that there has been a little bit of an issue with it, in that a rodent decided that its wiring harness was a good snack. So I tore the engine bay apart a little bit. For those who are playing at home, say hi, Corey.
What up?
This is my buddy, my friend, my chum, and lighting sucks right now, and I apologize for that. Few things that I've figured out. Lighting, there we go. Few things that I've figured out. This all started with the BCM. So I thought that the body control module was in fact the issue. The reason behind this is it's always been the issue with this particular vehicle. You'd be driving down the road and all of a sudden out of nowhere, it would, the entire gauge cluster would go out, the radio go out, the drop top, as you can see, it's convertible, would go out. So it went through many diagnoses and nobody could figure it out. My in-laws asked me to, because this was my in-laws' car before it was mine. They asked me to do a little bit of research into it. So I looked up for approximately 2 minutes and found that the body control module on these fails because this is the casing right here. I already had the new one already installed. So what it is that there are mounting holes. These mounting holes are actually, one of them is the grounding that ground it to the body, thus creating a full circuit. They say that that's the failure point. So I went ahead, got a new one, and wouldn't you know it, everything started working the way it was supposed to inside the car.
Outside.
However, as far as it, Corey so delicately put, outside of the car, the engine would not start. All assortment of weird lights would come on. Like it would show that one of the blinkers was constantly static on. The high beams were on where the headlights weren't on at all. There was obviously a short in the electrical system there. After doing much research, I also learned that this one took me a while, that the grounding point behind the passenger side head tends to corrode because it doesn't have as much heat as the other grounding points focused on it. So I went and I started looked over behind, and this is what I found. Let me give you just a little bit of a reenactment of how that worked out. Okay, all right. So what we are doing today is we're putting in a wiring harness from a 2000 Pontiac Firebird. So let's see that real quick. Just kidding, doesn't fit. What? New plan. We are going to graft in the wires that were chewed through by a rodent from the 2000 Pontiac wiring harness, engine underhood harness. That's what we're going to do. And it's going to work. We're going to solder, we're going to heat shrink, and hope that that works. Cue montage. As I mentioned, we are soldering underneath an engine bay. There's going to be a lot of debate on this, whether we should use crimps, whether we should solder in a high temperature area. Maybe not. There's a lot of, well, engine heat is enough to melt solder, so you're not going to get a good enough connection. It was right about here that we realized that. We figured, though, it's in a low temperature zone of the engine bay, so we just continued with it. I can tell you, after driving it for a few months now, haven't experienced any issues with the soldered area. So honestly, I think it's okay. I will keep you posted, of course, that if there is a failure. My failures are funny to y'all, so I'll post it for sure. This is an engine bay, so heat shrink, heat shrink, heat shrink. There will be moisture, and you don't want that getting in there. That's the number one failure for any electrical component. But, want to see what happens? Check this out. As with most things in life, cars, repairing them, modifying anything, we can get bogged down with the steps that it takes to accomplish the goal that we have in mind. Lazarus has kind of been the epitome of that. I spent a lot of time worrying about what needed to happen when it needed to happen. But one of the things that we've always said on From the Garage, get out there, pick up a wrench, and get to work. Until next time, though, I am Dan Nichols, and get out of my garage.